Oops. Alright, my name is Rob Leahy, and I'm talking about the Internet of Things today, and actually how cloud computing is changing the world more than the Internet of Things in general. Um, my favorite thing in the world is when my computer crashes right at midnight. I'm about to finish that project, and I lose all that data that I didn't save. I'm really upset about it, kind of like this guy. He starts crying. Um, However, I was frustrated because I didn't understand why, before I didn't understand why Google Drive would save my work right away, but Microsoft Word didn't, or why my computer would crash, etc. But now I know these differences after looking into the Internet of Things, how a computer works in the cloud. Clouds are everywhere, and sooner or later the skies are basically going to be overcast with them. Cloud computing is expanding rapidly and is replacing the standard PC-based drive, while opening up the ability to compute and write code and share it with everybody. My main point will be focused on the cloud and how it connects every single aspect of Block 1. For example, a computer can receive data from something and upload it to a cloud so that somebody across the world or somebody sitting right next to the user can see that right away. And my main talking point is to expand the idea of the cloud and how it connects much more than the personal lives of individuals. Cloud computing streamlines everything. You can connect all these computers, which is so much more efficient, accessible, flexible, and it's obviously an innovative idea, but it creates so many opportunities which enable people to go above and beyond what they were able to do before. For example, my neighbor Keith, software developer, and that's actually a picture of Keith. It's not just Keith is one of those guys, but yeah. Anyway, Keith is a software developer. He's my neighbor, and he uses iPads to control his home. Whether it's the lights in his house, the temperature of rooms, the temperature of the shower, the music in each of the rooms. All of the data comes from these iPads, or is sent from these iPads. The commands are sent from these iPads, and data is received on them, and they can control the room. He has a network from a company called Nexia, which controls his house, and basically he can use Hulu and Netflix and all these things and sign in right away. But that's not all Keith is getting. Looking on, Keith is using Nexia for an enterprise too, his private enterprise. He runs a software company, and he can collect data. And not only can he collect data and see which kid's using the most amount of electricity, but he sees that data and he can change the program in his house. He can recode the program in his house so that it helps him out. And what he's doing is continuing on doing that and helping people via his cloud server, helping people have the same program as him, so that they can have the same setup and they can work around glitches. But Keith is just a private example. There's many other examples out there that are corporate. For example, Anheuser-Busch. Anheuser-Busch brews 340 million 31-gallon barrels a year. That's over 2 billion gallons of beer that they produce a year. And every bit of brewed beer never deviates from the standard. Using the Internet of Things and an infrastructure as a service, cloud computing system, Anheuser-Busch can brew this beer the same way every time. And they can do it sitting right here in St. Louis. They can control the brew line in Fort Collins, Colorado, or wherever their factory may be. But looking here, the brewery in Fort Collins may have too high of acidity, too low of a base, or whatever it is, and they can contact a brewmaster and control it from St. Louis, and that data will be sent back. Data will go out, and or info will go out, can go out, and data will be sent back to St. Louis to fix that problem. Another example would be Embraer. A lot of aircraft companies these days monitor their aircrafts remotely and let airlines know when there's a problem. However, Embraer is kind of innovating the whole idea. For example, let's talk about the engine pressure ratio up here, our throttle percentage. EPR, if it becomes too high, will send a note via ACARS, Aircraft Crew Automated Reporting System, to the headquarters in Brazil, and Brazil will then send a note back saying, we're monitoring your aircraft, you had too high an EPR, we're going to see if there's damage. But while they're doing this and communicating with the crew on board, they're also working together with Oracle to create a work order. So what they do is Embraer receives the data, uploads it to Oracle, and then Oracle distributes it to the maintenance factory of choice, because Embraer is not flying, all the Embraers in the world don't fly for the same airline. You know, SkyWest might operate one, Lufthansa might operate one. So they're sharing this data through Oracle and sending it on to maintenance factories where they can process the work order, and they can get the aircraft out on time. The Internet of Things uses the sensors in the engines to go to the aircraft, and the aircraft sends it down to the ground, which then goes up into a cloud so somebody else can access it. So this is really the Internet of Things happening really quickly with cloud technology and open source in that matter, because the items on board the aircraft, for example, the GPSs and stuff, are coded for each airline and can be changed whenever they want to fit that airline's needs. Cloud computing can be something like with Keith too, but a very, very personal thing where you just upload your photos, your music to the cloud and save your documents. For example, let's say you're going on a bike ride or something like that. You can upload a photo from your bike ride, go home, and edit it right on your computer without hooking anything up. The Internet of Things is ridiculous with the amount of monitoring we have. We can track basically anything, the amount of heat going into some food, or the amount of passengers on a bus, where a bus is. At St. Louis University, we use our shuttle tracker. That's an example of the Internet of Things. And all this stuff can go up to a cloud. For example, Google Drive. I'm using Google Drive today to show my presentation, and it's amazing what I can do with this, where I can just, at the click of a button, copy a link, paste it, and everybody in the world can see what I'm doing and what I've created. It's really unique and interesting, and these days, cloud technology is skyrocketing as the #1 way to communicate. A PC can communicate to some object via the cloud using some form of open software, but regardless, the amount of interconnectedness is really what we're focusing on, and it's changing the world and globalizing us much more rapidly than we would have been before with just the basic hard drive computer.